Welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 of the Inches and Cubes podcast, your Toronto-based Warhammer 40k podcast. As always, it's me, Point and Click Nick.
Me, Mr. Fist, Paul Fowler.
And me, Adam, the truest axe.
I was worried he was going to screw that up for a second. Hey, we're back.
Woo!
Yep.
Yep.
We're live streaming right now, again. So if you are watching us live stream right now, you're listening to us in the future.
Again, we've touched on the way that recording works, and don't do it so close. Hey, when he does it so close.
So Adam supplied the beer tonight.
Yeah.
And it's a Shapeshifter. That was tough. A Shapeshifter Sour IPA. It's going to be a fun night. This is a fantastic beer. And they actually post the recipes online at Halo, which is kind of cool.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah, This is a brewery just a block away from my house. It's a great neighborhood microbrewery.
It's so well lit in there.
It really is.
Sure.
I walked in there the first time, I was like, it's so bright. But we should probably tell people why we're here today, before we start talking about the beer.
Yeah.
Though I just love the image of Simon smashing Skip 30.
Yeah, that's why he should watch us do it live, because then he can't skip ahead. But yeah, today we're going to talk about Warhammer 40k in one of the greatest mediums of all time, video games.
Yeah. Eat it,
I
Cisco.
disagree with that statement.
Really?
Yeah, I fell out of love with video games.
Have you played some of the new ones like BioShock, Fallout, The Witcher, the RPG ones where you okay,
No.
because I find that did you ever do the make your own adventure books when you were a kid?
I've done some of the old school RPG stuff.
Yeah.
And it was okay. Not the make your own adventure books per se. Do you want to go to this page or that page?
Yeah, that's a make your own adventure book.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So definitely done one of those. And it was okay too, But just video games in general, just being stuck to a screen, and I get that they're getting more social, but it just removes a layer of that person-to-person interaction that is amazing about the hobby we have.
I can't stand the person-to-person interaction on video games. I don't play multiplayer video games anymore.
Yeah, you know what I don't like though? I don't like those multiplayer paintings they have. Those are really bad works of art.
Huh?
The person-to-person interaction's not the pinnacle of the art form of video games. I think it's the solo stuff.
Okay, fair enough.
Is what I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. It's one of the best ways to tell a story because you're invested in the character and you're making decisions, and your decision for use BioShock for an example to harvest gene-altering parasites from a little girl, which kills her,
or
rescuing her, that touches you. And at the very end, when you're spoiler alert for BioShock, when you're dying on your deathbed, and either all these genetically deformed people swarm and start invading the mainland, or you're surrounded by all these little girls that you rescued and raised to be young women, and you're dying, and they're there on your deathbed, and it's super sad. Or Fallout 3 at the very end, when your father sacrifices himself, and then you have to sacrifice yourself to save people. It always brings a tear to my eye. But we're here to
Let's
talk.
save it for the main topic.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man,
No.
This is great. This is great.
you've
content.
been sitting on this thesis for a bit, haven't you?
Yeah, I think it's... Yes.
I'm going to respond to your thesis.
That's okay. Video games is an untapped storytelling medium.
I think it's fairly tapped.
It's pretty tapped.
It's only going to get better
Oh,
with VR stuff.
We'll
But video games is going to be our main topic. But first, as always, Hobby Desk.
yep.
I'll start for once.
Okay, go for it.
So I actually went really quick for me on making a Thunderhammer boarding shield chaplain for 30k. So he's Emperor's Children, but he's all black armor. He's down there on the feed there. If Adam puts my pictures up, yeah, he does. He's really cool. So he's got a purple chest plate. Everything else is black and gold trimmings with some white accents in there as well. Kind of combining just the black armor with the deep purple. Looks really good. He's also going to be really good in the game. He's going to hammer some people.
Yeah, you do love your chaplain. You frequently run a chaplain.
I do. I've always run them, and then just like I think I was just leafing through one of the Horus Heresy books, and they actually show Chaplain Charmosian, who is like the Emperor's Children chaplain, who's featured in the Horus Heresy books in his like full black armor, and I'm like, that is so cool.
Nice.
Yes.
There it is. Well,
Yay.
that's not the chaplain, but he'll come up soon.
Yeah. And then I put some work in on the Falchion as well, including the Space Marine tank commander pilot, who I just love because he's got his hand on the cupola with like a monocular.
Yeah. A telescope.
Yeah.
Thing.
So yeah, that's what I've been working on.
How about you, Adam? What you done?
Yeah, man, had some fun. A little bit of progress on personal stuff. So getting ready for the 30K event, I built 2 quad mortars for 30K, which was it was certainly a task. Certainly a task.
Just having the tracks separate on those models is baffling.
Yeah.
Not
Like-
necessary.
Nope. No added value by having the tracks separate on those models.
Yeah.
A lot of swearing.
Yeah, and my issue were the all the mold lines on the legs were just terrible, and so the legs are like a toothpick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just throw a sidearm on them. Bulk them out.
Yeah, I was gonna start off by green stuff in the model back thicker.
Did
And
yours?
then we'll
Did
see.
yours come with Mark IV armor?
Yeah.
Mine came with Mark III.
It's because you got you didn't get the quad mortars.
No, right. I got the laser destroyers.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a different kit entirely.
Okay. Cool.
So then and then I primed my Battlefield Gothic fleet.
Look at that.
Wow.
It's so shiny and white.
Yeah. Yeah, the Lin Wolves.
Now I'm seeing some red and gold besides white.
Yeah, that's the Sisters of Silence that I painted. I painted up 10 of them, it was a great learning experience for when I have to paint the 30 of them that I own for myself. And I thought that turned out right.
Yeah.
I figured out a quick little recipe that had some pretty popping colors on there, and I'll maybe change the colors for my own, but just
Yeah, what were you thinking you'd do for your own?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't think that far ahead.
All right. I like the red. I like the finish that you got on their capes is really nice.
Thanks.
I gotta say.
Yeah. Started work on a bunch of Castellan robots, so I'm just working through the first one. I have 6 of them to do. Working through the first one to make sure the scheme works out. And the request from the customer was paint them like the studio Necrons for GW.
Okay.
And so they all have like this super dark with bright green edges on all their armor, and then the warped metal kind of underneath it.
Oh yeah,
That'll be super cool.
I'm looking at it and I'm really digging it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. For me, that works from a fluff wise, because they're robots.
Yeah.
You can paint them whatever color you want.
I do
Exactly.
like those models. The one thing I've never understood is their heads. I've seen some great conversions for their heads. Just the happy face drawn on.
Yeah, I think I would definitely do like a pixelated face. just
like a Space Invader.
yeah, like a little pixel drawing.
Each one is a different game.
Yeah.
You got Pong, you got Commander Keen.
That's a great idea.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man. So those are fun. And I think that's it.
Okay. I got a nice bit done this week. Last night, Sunday, I pretty much finished off the aggressors. They just need to get based, and they're done. They've been weathered. All the highlights and stuff are done. And yeah, so I'm pretty pleased with how they turned out. I'm really glad that I went back and did them to a better standard, just because
They're looking slick.
yeah, they look a lot nicer now. When I was doing the decals, I noticed that my 40k captain with a plain chainsword is looking a little plain. And on the on the Dark Imperium transfer sheet, there's a bunch of laurels and stuff.
Those are so good.
So I sliced them up a little bit, and I put them on the side of the chainsword, so it looks like a fancy chainsword, but it doesn't veer into fancy pants Blood Angels chainsword territory, because it's a fairly fairly innocuous model. I wanted him to have very few ornaments, and I think that solved that problem pretty well.
Yeah. It's a nice touch.
Yeah, and then I threw a wash on top of the Custodes Dreadnought, and that's next on my chopping block.
Cool.
So,
Which the metal on that, if you guys haven't heard of Paul's recipe for how he does these, it looks really impressive.
yeah, I didn't want like a bright gold, just because I didn't want to do that. And if I was going to do that, I'd end up like just buying the Sigmar spray paint, doing that,
Yeah.
hitting it with a wash, calling it a day.
Yeah.
And I mean, if that's what you're doing, that's cool. But I like this kind of beaten, coppery look to my Custodes. Like, you know, I like the idea of saying, like, they're gold armored giants. And then people see it, it's like, that's not gold. And then they cut a guy in half. And they're like, it's close enough. Yeah, and that's going to be pulling double duty in 30k and 40k. In 40k, I'm going to run it as a Contemptor with twin link blast cannon. And if anyone says otherwise, I'll just poke him in the eye.
Yeah.
With the Dreadnought.
Mm-hmm. Doink!
I'm looking forward to overwhelming your aggressors with 100 orcs on Saturday.
That's a really cool way for them to die. Like, I'm not even mad. But yeah, no.
I hope you get to double shoot that orc unit.
Oh yeah, in Overwatch, just
Yeah.
Or
bullet hose.
I might just kill them with ludas from a distance.
That's no fun. I told you, missile devastators versus orcs is hilarious.
Yes. Oh god. Yeah.
Because like you wink at their vehicles and they go up in flames.
Yeah. That's one thing I did notice about playing orcs. I was like, I only have a 4-up save on all my vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Well, that's Hobby Desk.
Yep.
Oh, and also I picked out a bunch of bits and stuff because now I want to make a chaplain with a boarding shield and a thunderhammer.
Paul always copies me.
Hey, man.
You got a fire raptor after I did.
You sold me a fire raptor.
You wanted it so bad.
We just didn't want you to have two.
I know.
Yeah, it's true. We took up a collection.
I played one game with 2 fire raptors and I was like, never again.
No, that's crazy.
Although poor Jim at the LVO
We'll talk about that next week.
had to play an army with 2 fire raptors.
Only two, eh?
Yeah.
With Gilman, right?
No, it was a chaos army.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, can you imagine fire raptors kill
Dude, people were showing with 3 fire raptors Gilman. But let's save it for next week.
What?
Dude. Yeah.
Fire raptors are really fun though.
Yes. Have you used it in 40k yet?
Once.
Yeah.
Against Nick G.
It was fun, eh?
Yeah, it was real good.
Does a lot of work.
This is stupid.
Yeah.
So speaking of how effective fire raptors in the game, let's move on to General's Armchair.
You guys play any games?
No.
Don't look at me.
Adam?
No.
No. I only played one game this week because it was a busy week. Started a new job. Went to a great wedding with Paul as my +1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kidding. But we went together.
Wait. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I was totally kidding too. Oh yeah, no, shout out to club member James for getting all married and stuff. He listens occasionally. Good.
Yeah, he's probably going to be really happy we don't talk about math on this episode.
If we do, I don't know what happens.
Yeah.
His mind explodes.
Yeah.
I think I'll just quit. I'm done.
You can't quit.
Oh.
But I gained 10 pounds that wedding. But it was a lot of fun. But no, last
And a
week...
pig's face.
Did you? No.
No.
The pig head wasn't there.
No, it wasn't. It's a joke.
Okay. And sometimes
Have
it's
you
there.
been to a party where the pig head is there?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so good. Have you had pig cheeks?
Pig cheek and lamb cheek. So good.
I can't wait to just like give Blakely the like foot up to the ankle and just let her run around.
Your house or someone else's house?
Well, wherever the party is. She right now she's just like she'll just mow down on chicken wings, like so we eat the chicken wing and like make sure there's no bits that'll just fall off in her mouth that she'll choke on.
Yeah.
She'll just take this chicken wing and like eat all the remaining little bits on it.
That's so weird. I love it.
Yeah.
So I played one game.
Okay.
I played Mike. Mike Chapman he messaged me last week. He's like, yo, when are we going to play our first game of 8th? And Mike and I used to play all the time, like a lot back in the day before the club started. And it was my Emperor's Children versus his Space Wolves a lot. So we brought a Space Wolves list. It was very 7th edition, so like a drop pod with dudes inside. Bjorn, a Murder Fang, the guy with the shield and the axe.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool. He's tough to take down. The 3 of invulnerable save.
Yeah.
He's super tough to take down. He also had Najal, Arjak, and a bunch of Terminators. And we played this weird mission in Chapter Approved. I really liked it, where you divide up your army into 3 forces. Equal number of units, not by points. Yeah, Paul's counting 3 on his fingers. And you follow all the standard rules for deployment, but before you go to deploy, you roll a d3 and you assign a number to each of your 3 detachments that you've kind of made. And that's the detachment that you deploy. The other 2, everything else that isn't on the table enters play via old reserve rules, so coming in on a 3-up. But on the start of your first movement phase, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
So it's at the end of your first movement phase, you roll for everything that hasn't come in. On a 3-up, it comes in. At the end of your second movement phase, everything just comes in automatically.
And it's per unit, not these pre-assigned.
Yeah, it's per unit. So he ended up with all of his deep striking Terminators being his initial force, which meant he kind of null deployed against me and then made me go first.
That's really funny.
Yeah, so I had my entire army. Well, the first thing on the table, and then I think everything else came in off of reserve and was left with nothing to shoot at. So I just bubbled out. And then he
just denied him area and
so
the table.
Deep struck Terminators, deep struck his drop pod. All of his dreadnoughts, poor guys, had to walk in from the edge. And he put a lot of pressure on me, and that 3-up invulnerable save on that dreadnought, because he puts the dreadnought with the storm shield out in front, and the Murder Fang that's a character behind him, and they kind of just like
trudge along. You can't shoot the other guy.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. He got Terminators into combat with my Havocs and Noise Marines, and then oddly enough, my Noise Marine squad just murdered his 3-up invulnerable save dreadnought.
Yeah, Noise Marines are the best troop choice in the game.
They are, yes. Yeah. But no, it's just las cannons against things with an invulnerable save aren't that great.
No.
Because every invulnerable save you're making is a d6 damage gone. So I was using my normal Emperor's Children army, but with the changes in Chapter Approved, I was able to add in a squad of Havocs with autocannons.
These things just happen to you.
Yeah. Which was a lot of fun, because the autocannons do a ton of work. Najal Stormcaller is really good when you pair him with Terminators, because he has a psychic power that gives everybody within 12 inches cover. So your Terminators now have an effective 1-up save. So even if you have -1 on your weapons, it's only, you still have 2-up save.
Right.
Which is really difficult to deal with. And yeah, it was just a good one. It was a fun game. The objectives were worth different points. Slay the Warlord, First Blood, Line Breaker, all that fun stuff. But I'm really digging the Chapter Approved missions.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. They're very different. So I think that's it for Hobby Desk and General's Armchair.
Can I? No, I'll save that for next week.
Okay. Also, haha, snuck that one in.
I edited it.
Space with Nick's excited about it.
Okay, well, let's take a little break. See what's happening on Twitch. Maybe get another beer.
Okay.
Battle Brothers Studios, a commission painting service passionate about making your miniatures and your gaming table look great. Our philosophy at Battle Brothers is this: your army is our army. Every model will be something you can be proud to show off. Send us a message on facebook.com/Battle Brothers Studios for a free quote and make that dream project come to life. We also have something special planned for the release of 8th edition of 40K. Right now, get 20% off if you commission us to paint an 8th edition starter set, or get a 10% off Army Bundle bonus for painting up your new 8th edition 40K Army. Inquire with us on Facebook for full details.
G'day, how are you now? Tried to paint a mini the other day, realized my brushes were drier than a Saskatoon field in May. So I did what any reasonable man in his mid-30s would do, and I hopped over to thewarpainter.com to resupply. Thewarpainter.com is Canada's greatest hobby store for all things hard to find. Scale 75, Broken Toad, the Army Painter, and Valet-Ho. All supporters of Encounter Wargaming get 10% off their first order with the code EWG10. They got you covered.
We're back.
Okay.
We're going to go into the main topic now. Nick, you want to tell us about that main topic?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about video games.
Woo!
Specifically,
Warhammer video games. Well, Warhammer 40k video games.
Yeah.
though, that leaves out a really good one for me, actually.
Oh, we can talk about it.
Yeah. It's
We'll
our
do it.
podcast. We can
Yeah,
do what we
whatever
like.
want. So I think let's go in chronological order. So we're not going to cover all the games because we haven't played all the games. But we kind of did a quick poll to see what games we have been played. So we're going to go in chronological order.
We say haven't played specifically by us.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've definitely been played. Maybe not by the developers, but by the players who bought them.
Womp womp.
But yeah, so we'll start off with Chaos Gate for Windows 95.
Such a good game! And, like, if you haven't played it, you've definitely heard the music on some Warhammer, like, 40k video. Like, it is the most cribbed music I've ever heard. It's so good. It's like a turn-based strategy game. The graphics are very, very dated, and even at the time, they were a bit rough. But,
Yeah. Remember the hills.
yeah, because
Like,
the hills did
How
this.
is there a space marine on top of that hill?
So it's like an isometric view, so it's like from the corner, top down. Yeah, and you just controlled squads of Ultramarines,
Yep.
and they gained experience, and if they died, they were dead, and you could like move around your squads and change it out. And yeah, you're just battling the forces of chaos. It was a lot like Final Fantasy Tactics, if you guys remember that. And I went in and I was like, all right, do I have like rose-colored glasses? Am I just like kind of wanting to remember this game well? And I like watched a bunch of gameplay videos and I was like, shoot, this looks pretty good.
I remember being really, really hard.
Oh, it is super hard.
So
it's
hard.
Nintendo hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we all played this one, just
Yeah.
to be clear. Yeah. And I remember buying this one on a trip with my grandmother to Ottawa. She would take us, myself, my brother, and her on the train to Ottawa. She's like, I don't know, 70 at the time, right? She's pretty old lady to be taking, I don't know, 8 and 10-year-old kids on the train to Ottawa for a week.
Yeah.
Just us and her. And I found it, and I just lost my mind because I was like, Warhammer's the best thing ever, and now it's a video game. Ah!
Yeah, like it was so good. And I think my favorite part about the game is that you could put your dudes on Overwatch. So where it was turn-based, if like someone came into the line of sight, they would just mow them down, which was hilarious because cultists were a thing.
Yeah.
And they'd just be running at you, and they were like zombie-like dudes, and you're just blowing the top half of them off with a bolter, and you're like, oh man, this is real. And I'm still scared of Corn Berserkers because of that game.
Yeah. I remember one mission where you're like escorting either one predator or like a squadron of predators through like a canyon, and like if you lose all your dudes, all these Corn Berserkers just swarm the predators and start hitting them with chain axes until they blow up.
Yeah. Oh, nothing better than an escort mission.
Oh god. Yeah.
Everyone's happy when they get to play an escort mission.
I remember just like seeing the end of the Thunderhawk and like walking my whole squad back up in it because I was like, "It's a Thunderhawk! This is amazing! I want to go ride in the Thunderhawk."
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Yeah. No, you could get up in it, but you couldn't like.
I know.
Yeah, you just get up in a box that was shaped like a Thunderhawk.
And then you lost the round because you wasted all your turns jumping in the Thunderhawk.
But yeah, it was a really rad game. Like I said, the graphics are a little weird, and because there were like 3 levels, so there would be like ground level, hills, 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 and you had to switch between 4 levels. Yeah, so 4 levels. You had to switch between what level you were viewing, like the top, like all of it wasn't the default view.
Oh,
It was so weird.
I don't remember that.
It was.
For sure.
It was for me. I think it was for establishing line of sight because that was really important in this game. But it was just so janky.
That makes sense because that was the old line of sight rules, right? Like infantry's level 1 and can see over level 1, but can't see over level 2. A vehicle is level 2, which can see over level 1.
Yep.
Terrain was level 3. Yeah.
Yeah, like it made sense the way they did it. It looked ugly. And I think the release of that coincided with the second edition, I guess what we know as like Mark 8 armor, the like standard.
Yeah,
8?
mid 90s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the standard Skullface Space Marine.
Skullface, not Beakies.
Yeah, not Beakies. They were like the next generation.
Not Beakies was Mark 8.
No.
What's Mark 7? Beakies?
Maybe they're Mark 7. And Mark 8 is the high collared like sergeant plate.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so it would have been Mark 7 armor.
Cool.
I apologize. The Aquila pattern.
I'm holding you to your journalistic standards.
That's okay. I corrected myself in one breath. So yeah, it was kind of cool to see that because it was like all the heavy weapons were the big shoulder mounted ones.
Yeah. Yeah, remember that.
Yeah.
Don't get distracted by Twitch.
Mark
We'll come
8
back to
is
them.
Beakies.
We'll come back to them.
He's answering the question.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Chaos Gate was fun. Like I would have been like 10. It came out 96 ish.
Yeah.
So I was 8.
Little kid.
Yeah.
I would have been 11.
I was 10.
I was smoking cigarettes and stabbing people for money.
No, you weren't.
No, I was probably smoking cigarettes and
I mean, you were playing Chaos Gate.
Getting stabbed.
getting stabbed for money. Dark.
So this henceforth is our first entry point into the land of playing Warhammer 40k video games.
And I did some research. There were ones before that. I don't even recognize them.
Oh no. And well, I mean, there was an old DOS version of Space Hulk, wasn't there?
Not to my memory.
So what do you got, Nick?
This is a test pattern mosaic. It is a single hop pale ale.
Cool. So this is a new one they made.
It'll make you hop more than once, though.
Meh, 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 meh.
Womp womp womp.
Dad joke quality on high.
DADJOAKE. Dad joke. You know what? Now that we're not allowed to do math, I'm just going to start spelling stuff wrong.
Oh, Henderson's has a bourbon-aged amber ale on tap.
Not the Beast.
It's
right?
not the Beast.
Okay.
Listen, we gotta
So
stop.
it's a rye ale.
I'm gonna stop plugging Henderson until they start giving me free beer again.
So good.
Again?
Yeah. I'm gonna just keep writing them letters. Hey, give me some free beer.
Yeah.
It's the next step. We'll reach out to people and be like, "Give us free beer."
Yeah.
And we'll talk about you on on our podcast.
We'll
even
sell
though
a
we
case.
already do.
I think it would be really funny to have like a subculture beer for Warhammer people, where it's like, oh, Warhammer nerds, they drink Labatt 50 or whatever. Like that would be.
But Toronto,
That's already
Warhammer
all the
nerds.
hipsters.
Yeah, hey, that's me.
We could do. Oh man, what's the
Stock ale.
stock ale? You knew exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, it's like the weird blue box Molson one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I love stock ale.
Not Molson Export.
Dude, that's the beer with the cigarette butt already in it.
Yeah, for flavor.
Just stuff a rat in there. It's pickled. All right, but enough cool beer talk. So yeah, Chaos Gate aged surprisingly well and is available on goodoldgames.com.
I'll have to check that site out.
It's really good. That's where I bought Baldur's Gate recently.
Hmm.
Because, I've got too much free time.
Should be playing games in Hobby Progress,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
which you have been doing a good job at the last 2 weeks.
Sure.
So the next one we have on the list is Final Liberation. And neither of you guys ever played this, eh?
Nope.
I think I only heard about it this week from you.
Yeah, check it out. I wonder if it's on Good Old Games. But this was an epic. This was like one of the few times they actually tried to really make the game, like the 40k tabletop game, into a video game.
Mm-hmm.
And you had everything. Remember what a Leviathan was before Leviathan Dreadnoughts?
No.
The church tank.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the church tank. So it was like the giant, like, church tank with a big gun.
Yeah.
It was like it was a mobile command center. It was an apocalypse epic thing. You could play up to 100,000 points aside. It was Orcs versus Imperium, but it was like very, very strategic. Like I remember, like you don't command like individual Space Marines. You command like 50 of them at once.
Right.
This is
a company.
a company of Space Marines. You could get them to dig in, and then you just see like Space Marines digging with shovels.
I actually got the detail that
Yeah,
quality.
I remember them doing that, so that was fun. It was very random.
yo, that church tank is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's just got, like, heavy bolters strapped to the side. And
Oh, those are mega bolters, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so
That's like
dope.
their Sandcrawler 40K.
Yep. It's so dumb. I love it.
Yeah.
So, 100,000 points aside.
Yeah, you could play
Digging Space Marines.
Digging Space Marines, but it was like, it was very random. It still included the random elements of the game. So I just remember like having a Leviathan being like right on top of a squad of orcs and firing the vortex missiles, and then it just like exploding in this terrible pixelated explosion, which in my head is a lot better than it actually is. And then like nobody had suffered any damage. And you're like, okay. Cool.
Yeah. Because it hit the ground like a half inch off from the guys.
Yeah.
And-
And you're like, no, complete miss. And you're like, no, this thing like can murder a city.
This thing fires tiny black holes.
Yeah.
Come on now.
But it was a lot of fun. They had a campaign mode. The interesting part about it was one of the few games you could play on the same computer multiplayer.
I love
so
stuff.
like you control AWSD and the other person controls the number pad. or
No,
the
I take my
arrows.
turn, then I give you the computer,
Oh, and you do.
and then while you're doing it, I smash on the keyboard while you're playing.
Oh, you were that kid.
No, it happened to me. Yes, I was that kid sometimes. But it was a lot of fun. I'd like to go back and revisit it. But it was, like I said, one of the few times they tried to actually port the game over.
And I think it's like really interesting because that kind of shows some forward thinking where they're trying to say like, hey, what can we do with video games that we can't do with the tabletop?
Yeah.
And like these huge scale battles are the way to do it. I think that would be really interesting. I'd love to see that happen again.
Yeah, I think you're right, for sure.
I mean, they kind of go that direction with Warhammer Total War. Is it?
Yeah.
Is that what
Yeah.
it's called? It's not called that, is it?
Yeah, it is.
It is called that.
Because it's the Total War series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. With the Warhammer skin on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just huge fantasy battle. Actually, it's probably what fantasy battle should be.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, you want the battle of 5 armies. Like,
Yeah. Or the Battle Marathon or something, right? So with magic.
yeah. You know my... Alright, well, we can talk about ancient battles later.
Yeah.
Uh,
So great game. Definitely, I'm going to check out a bunch of these. The next one I have on this list, we're coming into the modern era of gaming. I think this was for PlayStation 2.
what?
Fire Warrior.
Oh, yeah, it was PlayStation 2.
Did not play that.
This was a real friggin' turd.
It was fun.
It was like...
They did a really good job of the lore, and the gameplay just suffered. But if you're into 40K, you're like, I don't care. I want to see what happens, because like the game starts off with a great cinematic of a Imperial noble setting down in a transport ship, flanked by Space Marines, meeting a merchant of the water caste.
Cast? Yeah.
Yeah, the water caste. Like the water caste, I think, does the trading.
Or,
I think so.
yeah.
They're the diplomats in the
Yeah,
town.
because
empire,
air are pilots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's water.
And then, like, the Tau player being like, we come in peace! And then, like, the Space Marines just shooting everybody and then, like, stomping on the Tau diplomat's head.
To be fair, he tried to reason with them.
Yeah. And
The
then
Space Marine did, or the Tau guy?
The Tau guy. You don't...
You don't reason with the Space
No.
Marine.
Yeah, they're the angels of death. Like, that's what they like to be called.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what people say about them. That's what they're like, hey.
You will call me this.
Yeah, and they're like, okay.
But, yeah, and then you start fighting in the trenches.
Say my name, baby.
Crunch. Go ahead.
You fight in the trenches.
Yep.
We were at Seascape a couple months ago, got nice and drunk playing Mario Party and Mario Kart. And Connor was playing Fire Warrior on the TV next to us, and I just remember looking over and being like, what the hell? There's a Fire Warrior wielding a bolter, just rapid firing into a commissar, and the commissar is just swinging his chainsword like nothing's happening.
And, like, just shouting, "For the Emperor!"
Yeah.
It, like, the only way that this video game makes sense is if it were meant as a historical document written by the Tau.
Yeah.
Like, where it's like, humans are crazy and unkillable. And, yeah, through the jigs and reels, you end up fighting, like, a Chaos Dreadnought, Bloodthirster, I think a Greater Demon of Change, I know for a fact. And in the novelization, like, Khorne comes into this fire warrior and, like, you know, kind of compels him to kill this Zinch Crater Demon. Like, he beats it to death with a pulse rifle. It's a ridiculous game.
But it was... The graphics weren't bad.
It was fine for the time.
Yeah, for PS2.
Yeah.
They're not bad. And I think it did a really good job of capturing the aesthetic of the Warhammer 40k universe. And I think it was like 2000... Was that when Tau was introduced? No.
No, I think it would have been 4th edition.
Which was around 2005.
Oh, I guess they didn't exist in 3rd edition, did they? They didn't have a 3rd edition.
They were not in 3rd edition.
Yeah, it would have been... Because it would have been like 9th or 10th grade for me.
Yep.
I remember when Tau came out, and it was a big deal. Because everyone hated them. And people still hate them. But yeah.
Well, I hated them for different reasons back then.
Yeah.
Like,
Because nerds hate change.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like the Tau and the fluff setting. I think they're like a cool addition.
Oh, one of my favorite short stories is about a Guevesa sergeant.
Oh, rad.
And it was like super cool, and he was a Catachan and just talked about Catachan and talked about how he was like the Tau surrounded his unit, gave him the choice to surrender, and him and his squad surrendered, and they just murdered everybody who refused to surrender. And he started fighting for the Tau and like wanted to give his life for the Empire. And you're like,
the Tau Empire.
Yeah, the Tau Empire.
Greater good. Yeah, I remember when like that codex came out and they were like showing you neat conversions you could do to make your
Guevesa. Yeah. Not anymore.
You know what? After seeing the Gene Stealer Cult Codex like 2 years ago, last year, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Like,
just like one data slate, right? Guevesa auxiliaries.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just guardsmen armed with pulse rifles, which I guess they just hit things better in combat with their guns.
Yeah. That's a cool idea, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but Fire Warrior was really cool to see like a Chaos Marine or a Space Marine rendered in 3D.
Yeah, and that was one of the first times you were able to do that. Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, don't quote us on it. We're not experts, but we are good looking.
But you would know if you were on Twitch.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's next?
What's next is the Big Daddy of Warhammer games that set the gold standard and has not been reached since.
Oh.
Dawn of War 1.
Come on, baby.
Oh, this game was Command and Conquer level awesome.
Yeah, like this. Here's the thing. That's a good video game.
Yeah.
That's not a good Warhammer video game.
No, it's a good video game.
King Stay the King. That's a real good video game.
And every expansion just made it better.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had Dawn of War, where it was Space Marines, Orcs, Chaos, and Eldar. Winter Assault, they added the Imperial Guard. I can't tell you how much I hated playing the Imperial Guard when they had like
loved it.
5 basilisks just hammering you from across the board.
Yeah, because it felt like the way like fighting the Imperial Guard ought to feel, where it's like, I can get through this, but this is really a big pain in the butt.
And the campaign in the first 2 was very linear, which was kind of fun. You had a story, you had characters. But then Dawn of War Dark Crusade came out.
So good.
And they introduced the Necrons and the Tau.
Yeah.
And the Sisters. Was Sisters the third one?
Sisters was Soulstorm.
Yeah, I didn't play Soulstorm.
Soulstorm was fun, but Dark Crusade introduced this super cool campaign system where it was non-linear. It was like how we would play a Warhammer campaign.
Nice.
I think it was kind of based on that.
So there's a planet with different territories. Holding the different territories got you different things. Like if you held the manufacturing depot, you could produce more units. If you held the spaceport, you could attack places that weren't adjacent to your current territory. If you had the corn icon, which I never really understood why the Imperium would hold that place, you could launch 2 attacks in your like command stratagem turn.
You got crazy, yo.
Yeah. And then you had your Warlord, who was a named character. So you had
upgradable
Gorguts, the Warlord, one of the coolest Orc war bosses, because in this game, every time you defeated an enemy capital, usually their Warlord would die. And then Gorguts like has existed in every single Dawn of War game, and he's just like, you think you've killed him, and he's just like in mega armor shuffling off the battlefield. He's like, I'll be back.
Yeah, and like that's the orkiest thing where it's like, you know, retreat in the face of awesome power. It's like, I can learn something from this.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to upgrade your guys. You could get ended up with an Elephas, the Inheritor, the Chaos guy, ended up becoming a Demon Prince at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You could give your Imperial Guard Captain Lightning Claws.
That was so cool. Like, yeah, I remember the Necron story was my favorite because all of them had the, like, your warlord narrating it. But for the Necrons, they had a pariah doing it. So
Yeah,
he
back
was
when
like,
pariah still existed.
he was
yeah.
witnessing it. So it's this guy who's got like the spark of human intelligence just being like, when I was a man, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, that was your entry point for that whole story. But yeah, I think that was the reason that I wanted to do Necrons.
Yeah. But it was just a lot of fun to play.
Watching that resurrection orb go off,
Oh.
and all the warriors come back to life, and that could bring you overpopulation, right? And you just
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
have this huge army. And,
It was, yeah.
yeah,
was
Necrons
broken.
were straight up broken. And It
Yeah.
was so fun to play them.
Because that's back when Wraiths weren't actually good in combat, but they could be interdimensional, where they just are there. Because it had the whole real-time strategy, like Fog of War, and then if you like explored a place, you'd know what the layout was, but when you moved away from it,
You couldn't see it anymore.
you couldn't see it anymore. But you knew there was a hill there.
yeah.
But it would be fogged over. But Wraiths were just indestructible, and they could just chill.
Mm-hmm. They're
So
really
annoying.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that
give
was
your Gretchen stealth.
yeah. That was back when Wraiths would have been a modified Necron warrior as opposed to a canoptic
Yeah.
construction.
But and then even multiplayer was a lot of fun in that. I remember playing
Yeah.
that online.
Had a
for
lot
bit.
of multiplayer.
So here's the thing: I grew up in Labrador, and our internet connection was pretty shitty. Growing up, so I never got into online gaming, which is probably good because then I didn't have to like be assaulted.
It's awful.
It's the
like
worst.
I said, I left it after a while. But back when it was fun, when you were like, "Hey guys, let's have a LAN party," you know, like,
yeah, good times. We
Yeah.
definitely played Dawn of War at our LAN parties.
yep.
Yeah.
You nerds! I've never been at a LAN party.
So every
Don't act like
Yeah.
you're above us.
That being said, I can't wait for Saturday to play a bunch of Warhammer.
But I love the resource method in that game. So the resource method wasn't like Command and Conquer, where it's like get ore or Tiberium or Vespine gas or
Those-
we require more minerals. Wasn't that? It was like
Spawn more overlords.
Yes. Although you did have to build. Did you have to build things to like increase your population? You did. Yeah.
Yeah, you had to take over like strategic points.
Yeah, points on the maps, and that spawned you resource points to then buy new units. Necrons were different.
Yeah, they just had to build stuff.
They just had to build stuff, and holding resource points sped up their building. And then they ended up with a monolith. Each faction had super units, so you had like the Bloodthirster, a Land Raider, Land Raider for the Space Marines. The Tau had the Greater Narlock,
Yeah.
or what was the other one?
Yeah.
They had something
No,
else
that
too.
was it.
No, they had another one. The Tau had two.
Bane, was it Baneblade for the Imperial Guard?
It was
Baneblade
Baneblade
for the
for the
Imperial
Imperial
Guard.
Guard. The Necrons just turned into Nightbringer.
No, theirs was the monolith.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like the same tier of upgrades.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could turn your Overlord into Nightbringer for like 1 minute, where
Yeah.
he's indestructible. It's just crazy delicious.
Super fun. Orcs had a
Squig-off.
Gargantuan Squig-off.
Yeah.
Which is a
They
lot
had a
of fun.
Peaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Soulstorm was cool. Dark Eldar were a lot of fun. They got better the more they killed things and stole people's souls.
Hell yes.
Sisters had their old school faith points, so as their units died, they got more faith points to spend.
Gross.
It's kind of weird.
The martyrdom
Yeah,
factor.
the martyrdom factor.
Eldar had the Avatar of Cain.
Yeah. I hated Eldar in that game with their webway portals.
So good. I loved him.
Here's one thing Dawn of War did for me, and I still don't know if I can ever break out of this mentality because I don't know if it's actually accurate or not. But it showed me how a dreadnought moved.
Yes! Oh, the intro video to the first Dawn of War where the Space Marines are trying to take the hill from the orcs.
Oh, man.
And the dreadnought just goes...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, dude, like, the way they worked in game, and they would just, like, spin on their legs.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Like,
That's
the
so
whole
cool.
top of the body would just spin around?
Yeah.
And, like, it just was so not how I envisioned a dreadnought moving around at all.
There's no reason that it shouldn't be able to spin, though.
I'm not saying that.
But
I just
here-
had never thought of it like that. Oh, something's happening. What's
Time for
happening?
canned beers.
It's a hop and vice. Oh, we were supposed to turn upside down, gently spin around, pour, and then enjoy. I didn't do that.
So this is called All or Nothing,
Yeah.
and it is a hopped wheat beer.
So this will be pretty good. There's
Okay.
a glass out.
I'm just, you know what? I'm going to
You
open
going
up.
solo on that?
I'm going solo. I'm going to open up a tiny can of Belgian Moon because I really like Belgian Moon.
Which is called Blue Moon in the United States.
That's true. It's
Which is called Rickards White in Canada.
what? No,
It's totally different.
get out of here.
Seriously, Rickards bought the recipe for it.
Okay, so yeah, this is just a wheat beer. It's good. It's who's it distributed by?
Have you tried this?
Yeah,
though?
it's a Molson beer, but you know what? It's good.
Have you tried this?
Oh yeah, I tried that before.
Oh, that's really good. Okay.
Hopped wheat beer.
Oh, the cops are here.
Whoop whoop.
Last thing on Dawn of War, for me, anyways,
Sure. Yeah.
was what I really loved is you bought a minimum squad, it would spawn, then you had to purchase upgrades for that squad, including squad members. So you could take a squad of Space Marines, arm them with plasma weapons, or heavy bolters, or flamers, or whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
Your
It's a great
dreadnought,
40k
yeah.
feel.
Your dreadnought, you could be like, I'm having 2 las cannons and just blast away at
Oh,
things.
last cannons were hilarious
Yeah.
too. Like the animation was just so, like it would just be a straight line. I loved it. Yeah, no, it. I think that did a lot of work in getting a lot of people back into the hobby.
Definitely.
Because I don't think, and you know what, this is just me talking into my ass, but I don't know if it got a lot of people that only played video games to play
No.
Warhammer, and maybe it did. Hopefully it did. But I think it got a lot of us lapsed players back into it.
Yeah. I had it on my laptop up until 2 years ago.
I used to work as a security guard in Newfoundland, and I just brought my laptop, and like I would play through the Dark Crusade campaign.
So much fun.
Oh, so good, because it was like 12-hour shift overnight. What am I going to do?
And then every turn,
Drugs?
like from the campaign standpoint, when a faction took its turn, they'd say something funny.
Yeah.
And then every time a unit would capture a command point, we captured it for chaos!
Yeah.
My favorite, again, was the Necrons, because when... Yeah, it would just be like... And you'd be like, oh, I guess undead skeletons would be upsetting to talk to. Undead robot skeletons.
So help me remember. Did they? So at a certain point they switched from base building to purely capture points.
That's
right?
Dawn of War 2.
Okay.
Dawn of War
Okay.
2, from what I remember, didn't feature any base building,
No.
which I didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I played it for a bit and was like, this is fun to run around a map, but like, I want my StarCraft game back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Command and Conquer was my jam.
Yeah.
I love that type of game.
like I'll give Dawn of War 2 and 3 their due. They looked great, and they were dynamic, they were high speed, and I think they captured the feel of a game
Yes.
of Warhammer 40k more. But like,
But a Warhammer 40k game is supposed to take place in like 3 minutes.
yeah,
Like
so-
the entire game is
Yeah.
like done in real time, 3 minutes. So how do you translate that into hours of fun on the computer?
right. So I think Dawn of War, the first iteration, was just a great video game on its own, and by and large, so is Dawn of War 2. But we don't have as much expertise. It did spawn the great meme of the Blood Ravens having very sticky fingers.
They had that in Dawn of War, the
That's-
original too.
Yeah, because it would be like, look at this relic. It was originally belonging to the Iron Hands. It's like, well, why is it a chapter relic for you guys? And they're like, shut your mouth. Like, you don't ask me questions like that in my house.
Dawn of War 2, I remember, was a little bit more narrative as well, because like, depending on some of the choices that your captain makes, he ends up like being executed for treason or turning into a demon prince.
Yeah, that's like a non-canonical ending because
but it can still happen in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He turns up in 3, and he's also got a model from Forge World now. And there's...
Oh, is that like the Gabriel
Angelos
guy?
Yeah.
Angelos? Yeah.
He's
That's a cool model.
It is a cool model. There's a third-party model that looks way cooler, though. I'll find it for you and send it to you.
I might have seen it.
Yeah.
But I have a dude from Australia asked me to paint it for him right now.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which is pretty fun.
Dude,
I'm like, yes, I will paint that model for you.
Yeah. He's a really cool... And, like, the scars on his eyes are really rad. But if we're talking about, things that don't adhere to the Codex Astartes, or actions not supported by the Codex Astartes, I think we need to talk about Space Marine, the video game.
Yeah. So I'm out on this one. I never played this.
This is when I played it. I haven't played it either. You're supposed to give it to me.
So this is when Adam decided he doesn't want to play video games anymore.
But, Paul, you're supposed to give that game to me. We talked about this.
What game?
Space Marine.
I sold it.
Okay, well then you can give it to me.
No, I can't. Ages ago.
What game? What system is it for?
Is this like Bad Friend happening right now?
No. It's I had it for Xbox.
Okay, then
Yeah,
that wouldn't
so
work.
yeah, no.
I'm a Sony guy.
Yeah.
Don't do backwards compatibility.
Someone on the Twitch. No, wait.
No, we don't.
Okay,
interact with
sorry.
Twitch while we're on the podcast,
I'm
Paul.
sorry.
It's just so much fun.
But sometimes they give me facts, but I think they're talking about other things. Yeah, Space Marine. It's Captain Titus. Again, he's non-canonical, but you know the way that Warhammer fluff works. It's all true and none of it's real, or it's all correct, but none of it's true. Like, it's pretty kind of soft the way that this goes. But yeah, it's Captain Titus. You're a Space Marine captain. You're sent to a planet that's got too many orcs.
You showed us the intro video where they're on the Thunderhawk and they just like jump.
Yeah, they just like jump out, and this like scrub marine that's with you is like, Captain, this isn't supported by the Codex Astartes. And like Captain Titus is like, yo, sometimes you got to be doper than the Codex Astartes.
And they're Ultramarines too.
Yeah.
I remember this. Yeah, I remember thinking like, this is amazing.
Yeah, we watched that that intro video.
And like it's one of my favorite things, and it's a really rad. It's a very, very 40k storyline. I think Graham McNeil wrote it.
I think so.
But yeah, so you go to this planet, and you've been called there by an Inquisitor, and you're helping out the Inquisitor, and then, oh shit, it turns out that the Inquisitor died during his research, and now he's possessed by Chaos, and you've just helped him open up a gate into Chaos, and now there's Chaos Marines after you defeat the Orcs. And that's like the second stage of the game.
Spoiler alert.
For a 10-year-old game. Alright. And like the character design for the Inquisitor is really rad. And there's this like scene where it's like an Imperial Guard lieutenant talking to a Space Marine, and she's like, my lord, and like very reverential, and he's like, listen, you stand up, like you've been fighting orcs, and like you're a human, you've been doing fine, like I'm in essentially a tank, and I am a super engineered superhuman Superman, so like we're on equal.
You're pretty badass.
Yeah, it's like I gotta respect that.
Yeah.
Like I do. So yeah, like it kind of really expanded for a lot of people, I think, how the Space Marines would interact in a setting like this. And also, it wasn't a full scale battle. It was just like a small force of Space Marines helping out. And I think that in the Imperium would be more common.
So gameplay wise, is that how it played out? Like you were
Yeah,
a
it's
squad?
like-
You were
was
one
three-
person.
Yeah, you were one guy. He had two friends.
Okay. And they followed you around as just like
Sometimes.
You could switch between them, right?
No.
No, you couldn't. Okay.
So they would just like help out in certain missions. But the gameplay was so dope because as you took hits, you would take damage, obviously, and the only way to get your health back was to kill people. So in close combat. And like I think that
I don't remember any of the Space Marines organs providing that bonus.
well, I think what they were trying to do is kind of drive
factor.
home that these, like, not even the cool factor, because you get the, like, monastic idea of of a Space Marine all the time, where they're like, yeah, we're totally into like being really good at battle and like studying real hard at shooting our bolter, but they're psycho like conditioned to like stomp in faces. So like
They just get jacked up. Those stim injectors built into their black
carapace. Yeah, like that's the stuff that you don't hear people like being super into. So like I think that was a really cool way to do that. And it had a really good handle on the way the weapons should work, I really found.
I remember watching the plasma cannon work, and I was like,
yeah, like
it had like an arc to it.
Yep.
And you'd just be like, you'd have to charge it up, and then it would just like fire a ball of plasma that would explode on the other end, and you're like, that is
solid.
Cool.
Can you overheat it?
Yeah, you could. So you could charge it, and if you overcharged it, you couldn't fire it for like 2-3 seconds.
Nice.
And in like a first-person shooter, like bullet. Well, it's not quite a bullet hell experience, but like in a first-person shooter experience, like 2 or 3 seconds of ineffectualness, you're like, oh shoot.
Yeah. Big deal. Could you trade weapons?
I don't think you could swap it out.
So it forced
Yeah,
you
it
to
was
wait
like,
it.
hold on to it. It's too hot to put in your pocket. The last cannon was basically the sniper rifle. So it would be like, boom, one shot, that thing's dead. Your melt-a-gun functioned like a shotgun. So it was like really close range and would just wreck stuff. And outside that range, it was just like, yeah, it kind of hurts.
Mm.
And
Nice.
like, you know, it was like,
Thank
they
you.
did a really good job. Stormbolter was just super fun. Because it was just very...
Yeah, just fire hose of bullets.
Yep. Thunderhammer crushed face so much. And like the jump pack mechanic was really cool because like you could jump from level to level. So all of a sudden this third person shooter became a platformer, where you were like had jumping puzzles. It was, I gotta say, THQ did a really 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 good job on that.
Cool. Yeah.
And yeah, it was a good story. The last boss fight kind of sucked because like this guy in Terminator armor becomes more badass and becomes a demon prince because he does something. I don't know. Chaos is pleased with him, and then you knock him off this giant spire, and then there's just like a button matching mini game, and you're punching him, and then he lands, and then this scrub recruit that I talked about who like keeps complaining that like this action isn't compliant with the Codex Astartes. Apparently he called the Inquisition and was like, Captain Titus is going off his mind. Like Captain Titus is out of his friggin' mind. And he's like, dude, you suck.
Where did he get this Inquisition's cell phone number?
He just got it. Like and like
it's plastered all over the Imperium.
And
all
like,
this number.
Oh, it definitely
In
is.
case of heresy.
Every
Dial 9 2
1-800-222-TIPS.
Yeah, so like this scrub like tactical marine just tattles on this dope captain, and it's just kind of like, man, the Codex Astartes is a set of guidelines, and dude's like, it's a holy text, and then he has to go off with the Inquisition to be like tested for taints.
We all have a taint.
More than one though is bad.
That's true.
What other games have we played?
That's it for the list that we put together. No, there was one more. I think we should keep the crappy tablet games for fun time, maybe.
No. We'll
Wanna talk about them now?
yeah. Let's.
Okay, so before we switch to that, because
I have one more game.
sure, go for it.
And this was it was overlooked. Not a lot of people played it because it was like a $5 game on the PlayStation Store for PS3. It was called Kill Team. And it was kind of like, remember those old arcade games you could play with 4 people at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
It was exactly like that. And it was basically 4 Space Marines in an orc Space Hulk. And like, it was
Side scroller.
No, like top down.
Okay.
But like your one of your movement buttons was to fire in that direction. It was that kind of game. So one of your movement buttons was to move around on the map. The other one was to fire in that direction.
So like Gattaca.
Yeah.
Not Gattaca.
No, not Gattaca.
No, wait,
That's a
Gattaca.
show.
I remember watching Gattaca. It's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie.
They may have made
Galaxa.
it into a show too.
Galaxy, yeah.
What's the one that's they make a joke about in the Avengers movie? It's that game.
Okay. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so
We're
it's like
usually better than this.
4 space marines. Like you can be a librarian, an assault marine, a devastator marine, or a normal marine. And yeah, you just run around a space hulk killing orcs. And it was like you play it with like 4 friends, and it was just a lot of fun to play.
Okay, what if you don't have 4 friends though?
And you just play it by yourself, and it sucks.
Because you always die.
Yeah,
You need more people.
there's so many orcs.
So wait, can I just get someone else to help me play against your orcs on Saturday?
No,
Can I please?
No.
Okay.
you don't need it.
Bullet hose.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
So for me, the epitome of Games Workshop intellectual property video games was Warhammer Online,
Oh yeah,
Age of Reckoning.
yes,
Did
that was
either of you play that?
I played it for a bit,
Nah, man.
and then my computer stopped working, and then I got a Mac, and it didn't run that game.
Yeah. So I played it to the top tier.
Oh yeah,
Like I played it. I probably have, I don't know, like 365 days played, like a full year days played on that game. And it was amazing. It was basically one of the first MMO games that popularized PvP play. Cause
yeah. It was after WoW though.
So WoW came out, and it's basically a PvE game, and they tacked on
The
PvP stuff.
Yeah.
This was intentionally built to be a PvP game. So you had so you could walk around the world and do the PvE stuff. So you could go around killing monsters and doing quests or whatever. But the majority of the maps and the majority of the area of the world was just a giant area where both
Factions were fighting.
could go into.
Have you seen the intro video for that game?
It's amazing.
It's so. Have you seen it?
So good.
It's like when the orcs just like in the catapult.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
So
good.
So it introduced leveling up by killing other players. Like so before
Okay.
other games you could do PvP,
But
but
you didn't get
kind of just for
experience.
funsies.
Yeah.
Right? So like Diablo 2, like I basically spent all of high school playing Diablo 2.
I
think we all
failed
did.
French in university because of Diablo 2.
See?
Because I was like, I could study, or click, 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 click.
Diablo 3 wasn't as good.
Didn't even look at it.
No, I downloaded it like years later after I was like, I don't play video games anymore, but I spent so much time playing Diablo 2, I must buy this. And then I played it for an hour and was like, this is a waste of $80. Anyway, so Warhammer Online, you could level up by killing other players, and it's just a totally different dynamic. And
Yeah.
it, like, when I played WoW for 2 hours, because a buddy was like, you must play WoW. And I just found it so slow.
It was
like, man.
very slow.
Where's the run around killing people?
Yeah.
Like, you don't do that in this game. What do you mean you don't do that in this
What's the
game?
point?
You run around killing evil pumpkins.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can do that in real life, and then people are like, well, you can make gold. It's like, I can make money in real life.
So the end game for Warhammer Online was you literally invaded like the main Chaos City in the old world, or like Chaos invading
Yeah,
the
That's cool.
Middenheim or whatever, I don't know, whatever the main town is, and it was super cool. You came in with your huge party of people, which was everybody who was online at the time, and be like, oh my gosh, we're fighting the city. Oh my gosh, everybody has to show up. And out of all the people that showed up, it would pick 4 champions, which were, I forget how it picked them, whether it was at random or the 4 most experienced dudes, and it made them into these giant, towering, like, basically, they were giants, and it like boosted all their stats, and then you have like 300 people fighting these, like, against each other with 4 champions on each side. It was super awesome.
So into this.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So I think that's one of the biggest missed opportunities for the 40K side of things, is that there's never been a game with that RPG
A
element.
good MMO. Yeah.
Or even just an RPG element.
Man, I would love a Mass Effect style Rogue Trader game.
Yeah, because I was thinking Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, same, like
The
same.
exact same
Yeah.
sort of deal, right?
What's
like,
the popular one right now? Is it called Destiny? It's like a gun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's like a science fiction.
Yeah, Destiny.
shooting.
Yeah,
MMO.
something like Destiny would work very well. Destiny's got such a really cool background, like that type of, like, I really don't. You could just skin it in 40K and I'd play it.
yeah.
right?
But to just back up to Space Marine for like one little second.
Yeah, hit that.
So in the Sternguard kit that's currently available, you can build Captain Titus and his buddy. So like the pointy bearded bald head guy was his like cool friend that was like, listen, scrub, Codex Astartes is like got some answers, but also we're smart. And there's like a guy with just like a crew cut sort of thing, and that's like you can build the Captain Titus head. Like you can just build those models out of.
That's smart.
Yeah, that's
That
just
is a good idea.
That's super satisfying too. So
I like
actually,
that.
the pointy headed beard guy is going on some of the scout veterans that
Nice.
I'm making for you
Well, not for me.
for the campaign.
Surprise.
Anyway, so one of my last favorite things about Warhammer Online is you literally had players becoming the like famous characters.
Yeah, that's a neat little thing.
Like because they would be people of influence who rallied the community to like dominate the world.
Yeah.
The Warhammer world that's going on, right? And so you'd run into these people if it was like a low peak time, right? You'd run into these people and be like, "Shoot, I'm dead." Like they just like they were famous and everybody knew who they were because they were just played all the time and just wreck face all the time.
I just remember this great piece of artwork, and my friend had it as a poster, like a giant Warhammer Age of Reckoning poster, and it was a witch hunter facing like the person looking at the poster, and a Tzeentch cultist like jumping behind him with all like the weird bird feathers with like this weird knife.
Shoot, I missed this one.
And like, but the witch hunters like got like a pistol and like is kind of turning around halfway. And they're
Nice.
like, yeah, he's gonna cap that cultist.
That cultists don't know what's up.
But the orcs would have been so cool to play
Yeah.
as.
Apparently, the Mordheim video game is really good.
I've heard that too. The graphics look pretty cool. It's very much turn based though.
Let's see.
So let's get into some of the duds, the real duds. And I don't know. I think we talked
Do you
about.
just mean the tablet games?
Well,
Yeah,
Armada is crazy good.
Armada is crazy good. I am so stoked for Armada 2.
Yeah. So Armada is basically BFG on your tablet.
Did you watch the intro video?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's so cool because it's got like Gilliman in it, and the sound that the Chaos Lances make when they fire is just like, when you're like, yeah. But yeah, no, that Armada should be awesome.
And so everybody out there who doesn't know what it is basically an exact copy of what Battlefleet Gothic is
Yes.
right now as the tabletop game, but in video game form.
Yes.
Which is super cool, right?
Dude.
Because it's an amazing game.
Battlefleet Gothic doesn't exist officially. Like, we're playing necromancy with this game.
Yep. Yeah.
Like,
It's a fun game. I like it. Yeah, James is going to build you a papercraft fleet.
yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be super dope.
But yeah, so for some reason, Games Workshop in the past and continues to be very hesitant with their IP.
Unless it's a tablet, and then they will sell that shit like it's on fire.
No, but they'll only sell specific parts of it.
True, they had like an Imperial Knight game that sucked.
Yeah, I played Freeblade. It sucked.
I played Freeblade too.
Yeah, because you were like, cool knights, and then you're like,
It was a rail game.
yeah.
Like you.
What does that mean?
You don't get to move.
Oh yeah, it moved for you.
It moved for you, and
Yeah.
you just went fire a thermal cannon,
Yeah.
fire melta cannon,
Yeah.
fire the battle cannon.
Yeah, no choices, and very awkward to aim things even still.
Well, because it aimed for you.
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Yeah. It was like Time Crisis, but on a tablet.
Yeah.
Though, I'm going to give everyone out there a free tip. If you want to make any game like that more fun, if you have the option to name your character, name him My Dude. So everyone you meet seems really chill.
Yeah, my dude.
My dude, I need you to go to this castle and kill this wizard.
Lord, my dude.
Like, it's... I did it in Skyrim, and it doesn't come up very often, but it's really funny when, like, a courier comes up and is like, I have this for you, and it's a letter addressed to my dude. Like, it's...
My dude. Black Hand.
Yes! It's so fun.
I never played that game, so.
Okay.
Great game.
But I agree, that would be funny.
Oh, it's...
What are some of the other games I've played? Oh, I saw this on the App Store, and it was for free. It was the Horus Heresy Drop Assault game, and I'm like, Horus Heresy game!
so bad.
Yeah, I was like, this is awful.
Like oh yeah,
It was a tower defense. It was basically, like not Clash of Clans.
It was worse than Tower Defense, man. It was.
It was just the worst. It was like, and you play like, and you just get attacked by other people who pay money.
Yeah.
Space Wolf. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say Carnage. I think was one.
Was that for the N Gauge?
No, it was like a tablet game, and you just played either a Space Marine, an Imperial. No, you didn't play an Imperial Fist. It was either an Ultramarine, a Dark Angel, a Space Wolf, or a Blood Angel, and it was like different campaigns, not at all campaigns. It was just this little platformer.
Oh.
So it was like kind of fun, but you could have got the platform experience from any other game way better.
I think they made a shitty. Sorry.
It's okay. Shitty's the one we're allowed to say.
Like,
Yeah, I don't think that's a swear word. It shouldn't be a swear word if some people think it is.
Have you seen what the president's been saying? Nothing matters.
nothing. You're right. Nothing matters.
We're all going to log in later tonight and see some more fun stuff.
Oh,
Yeah. What did you see? Like, his speechwriter wanted to celebrate by going to visit children locked up in ICE detention.
Stephen Miller.
Yeah.
Friggin' cool.
Let's not even go down there.
That's not true. He didn't actually.
He didn't do it. It was an Onion article.
Okay.
But no, it was this super.
But you believed it for a second.
This is how rumors start.
There was the
Very bad.
the lane defense game. What's this really dumb game that's like esports super popular?
I don't know, because I don't play a lot of video games.
But it's like it's
Actually
actually
popular right now?
yeah, like it's people make millions of dollars off of playing this game.
Man, we are old.
And I
Yeah. The Dota games?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
League of Legends?
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
They made like a shitty Warhammer 40k skinned LOL.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm totally going to download it.
Oh man, I was on a date with a girl. She was like, "Do you play League of Legends?" I was like, "No," and she was like, "Oh." I was like,
I played
What?
I played it for 5 minutes and I just uninstalled the game. I was like, this is the worst. This is so bad. Then there's the Space Wolf game you were talking about.
I actually liked it.
I hated that game.
"What is that game?" Someone explain that. I
It
don't
was
think.
a
Okay.
turn-based card game,
Yep.
but it was then animated.
So, the way you play it, it didn't, it wasn't like playing Magic where you actually, like, place your cards down or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially all the cards were you build a deck that tells you, like, what you can do. And you decide how many, like, movement cards you want in it, how many shooting cards you want in it, combat cards you want in it. And it's, like, get cards out of your mind. Basically think of, like, how many times can I do certain things? And you know, if you want to move a lot, if you want to be highly mobile, you put more mobility things in that deck, right? So if you just want to show up, I want to move more often, or I want to shoot my big dirty gun more often. You need to
More shooty cards.
yeah, you put in more shooty cards. But you're essentially building a small squad of, it was like 4 Space Wolf dudes, and you ran around fighting Chaos Cultists and stopping them from doing whatever they're doing. Chaos Marines would show up, Bloodletters would show up, various missions, you just run around and just shut them down. But the fun part was, did you ever play the multiplayer?
No.
You could play online, one-on-one against somebody else.
Oh.
And that was amazing.
Huh.
Yeah, so the cool thing was, so the cards basically became a resource, and you could boil cards down to their base components and like use that to make other cards and like try and make just more rare stuff that was just better. And that was like a neat way to fuel the multiplayer game, the PvP side of it, where you're like, okay, I need a shooting card, but I need it to come up in the stack a lot earlier. Like I just need it to not cost as many action points or whatever.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Unpopular opinion, but crafting mechanics in games, not interested in them.
Yeah, this was pretty simple. It wasn't like World of Warcraft. You had to dedicate I literally had friends telling me, be like, I got to do some leather working tonight. That should not be a part of our moniker. Like,
Nope,
Yeah.
nope, that shouldn't be part of a thing you do to relax.
Yeah.
Like, I don't come home from work and be like, boy, I hope I can start my virtual job.
Fallout 4 did a great job of doing it because it's kind of like you just collect. You could like pick which components you wanted to search for, and then when you're in a room, like the things you want, like aluminum or biometric scanner or gold, would be highlighted in the items, and you just be like, "Oh, I'm doing a mission. Oh, there's an aluminum can. I need that for later." And then when you get back to your workbench, you're like, "Now my gun has a cool scope."
See, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
just the Skyrim
No.
mechanic of like, I'm gonna make 1,000,000 daggers. Now I'm really good at crafting armor for demons.
Also, I'm level 100.
Yeah. Well, gonna get friggin' murked by everything now.
Yeah.
yeah, this one was basically cards that are garbage. You just say, I'm going to sell these, and the currency you use to make new cards. It's anyway. You see, you don't actually have to like level that craft up and like do it over and over and over again. But
You guys ready to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a little quick one, figure out what we're gonna do for fun time, because I don't think we talked about it.
Nope, math problems.
Okay. Alright, we're back for fun time. And this one comes from the Twitch live stream from one of our youngest fans, Nick G. Just a little boy, grew up here in Toronto.
here's a nice beard.
He's for a little kid. He's got a really nice beard. He's probably what 6, 7. Just a great kid.
Paul's gonna shave your beard off in your sleep one night, I think.
He won't be asleep.
It's going to happen on our weekend.
Yeah, just like a chokehold and just like
Paul's never gonna let that go. He's never gonna let that go.
I can't. Anyways, but Nick's idea is a pretty great one. It's pitch a Warhammer 40k video game that you would want to play.
And it was made just for you.
Just for you.
Like some serious market research went in, and you were the only one that they interviewed, and it was made just for you.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that comes to my head is Imperial Stormtroopers. So you're the how do you pronounce it? The
S is before the R.
Yeah, no, don't just
Cass
Cass
Kin.
Kasserkin. So you're a squad of Kasserkin. Cadian badasses, and you've got to clear out, I don't know, a Gene Stealer cult. That is a cool game. I know that, I'm essentially describing Space Hulk with Kasserkins,
Yeah, that's fine.
but it would be really cool to have either a squad-based game or a first-person shooter on that. You get really attached to them. You'd probably get a sweet culty character that people would like and convert up really easily.
Yeah.
And I think you could do that really cool. Or imagine instead of an entire Gene Stealer cult, you're hunting down one Gene Stealer beast. You're hunting down the Red Terror.
There you go. It keeps evading you.
Keeps
you're
picking your
fighting
guys off.
other little baddies as you go along.
Yeah.
It's like the final boss fight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So some puzzle game elements in there.
I think so. I think you'd
Okay.
you know what? Instead of a squad-based first-person shooter, we're going to find out a way to do a squad-based horror game for this.
So
Really limited resources.
like a Blade Runner detective game mixed with. Did you play that game? By the way?
No.
Blade Runner?
Yeah, it was like
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a Blade Runner game where you ran around and you had to find clues and solve problems and go talk to the right people and get information out of people. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But if you got stuck, it was one of those things where you're literally running around the whole world going I don't know what to do.
Oh man,
next.
that's like the Myst games. You ever play a Myst game? I was like, oh man, I forgot to rub the statue's face. I guess the entire game's ruined.
exactly
Like
It's like Skyrim, where you kill a guy at the beginning of the game just for fun because you had the Wabbajack staff and you turned him into a chicken. And it turns out that he was essential
yeah.
for a later quest. You're like, shit, he's a chicken.
I think a really cool modern dungeon crawler in this would be really rad. So that's the kind of thing that I would want to see.
Yeah. I grew up playing the Command & Conquer games. I bought Command & Conquer the first decade when it came back out. So that had Command and Conquer, Red Alert, Tiberian Sun, Red Alert 2, and Command and Conquer 3. And with modern computing power, the things you could do with a real-time strategy, because those games were fantastic. The graphics were okay. You don't play those games with the graphics.
Mm-mm.
And doing like a Horus Heresy style real-time strategy game would just be amazing. Just having
with the campaign element,
the campaign, all the units that you could pull from and get to use in game.
Oh yeah.
With like mix some of the Dawn of War like upgrade that mechanic into it would be so much fun. You just definitely want the base building aspect to it, even if it's just your dudes come out of a Thunderhawk. Because remember in Command and Conquer, the original one, the Brotherhood of Nod's war factory that produced their vehicles was just an airstrip, and then a plane would land and a bunch of tanks would get out.
Yeah, it was pretty
Nice.
rad.
Yeah,
You know, I didn't play. I played Red Alert. I didn't play the original Command and Conquer.
Red Alert's so good.
Red Alert is so good.
That's where like the game became like accessible,
Yeah.
like real good. I
The
think.
live acting.
Ugh. I think what would
Tanya,
be
who just run around with their dually pistols and just
Yeah.
like murder any infantry in one shot.
Or they just kill Stalin.
I mean, history is pretty malleable, right?
Well, if you got a chronosphere.
Fact. I think what would be cool instead of like a base building aspect is like we combine the taking over points and the base building. So you're taking over areas.
Yeah.
So it's like you're discovering areas, you're discovering a map, and maybe it's just the Imperial Fist in me. Wait, I shouldn't word it like that.
No.
Maybe it's just the Imperial Fist in my heart that I'll edit that out. JK, I won't. Yeah, you're instead of like building bases, you're fortifying positions.
I like that idea a lot.
Yep, there you go. We just made $500,000.
But yeah, no, like
Money.
like an actual real-time strategy game would be fantastic. Or you know what? And they would never do this, but just the entire game, the entire Warhammer 40k game.
Shut up.
Video game.
That's getting. We don't want to pull that thread.
I'd totally play it
I
with
wouldn't.
like good graphics and stuff.
I wouldn't because I don't get the paint stuff.
If you'd play it on a Sunday night,
But that's when I paint.
I thought Monday nights were your painting nights.
I have 2 nights now, depending on how hungover I am on a Sunday.
That's fair.
So I want that.
No painting this Sunday.
I want that 40k MMO. I want it.
No, I
Make
hear
that
you.
40k MMO. Make it as community driven and competitive as the Warhammer Online was. Just with the open RVR lakes and the like, literally the faction you choose is, you know, you're against the other side and they're real people, you know?
I think if you could combine the EVE Online experience
Oh God.
with
Spaceship. Yo, that game.
I
drove me
Hold
nuts.
up,
I love
hold
that
up.
game.
Really?
hold up,
This is
not
slow.
done.
Keep
It was
going.
slow.
Combine that sort of gameplay, not entirely, not like the giant weird black market economy that sprung up. If you haven't heard, read the like EVE Online.
Oh, did you hear?
Scams.
Did you hear about the best one?
No,
I want to tell the story.
Yeah, right after I'm done.
Okay.
So yeah, you combine that with the MMO aspect,
RPG aspect?
Yeah, for a rogue trader game.
Yeah.
You get a cutter, and you're.
So now it's just Firefly.
Tell me that's not a good game.
That's a great
Like, tell me it's just a Firefly game. Get the hell out of here. That's a great idea.
That's a great idea. But my favorite Eve story was the amount of black market, crazy corporation bullshit that goes on. So this one corporation planted a mole in another corporation. This isn't a game.
And they're like, they level up and they join that.
Yeah, so they
Corporation,
joined the
and
corporation,
they, like-
made it all the way to CEO, then emptied that corporation's bank accounts,
Yeah.
didn't go back to his own thing, bought the biggest battleship in the game, outfitted it, took off for deep space, and took out a $10,000 US bounty on himself.
I love this guy. Hey,
And apparently his ship just sits in deep space in Eve.
that's incredible.
And like no one wants to travel that far to go fight him.
No.
And because if they ever do make it, they just won't win anyways.
And they won't get back.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's just nuts. They're just like, you just ruined. Well, I guess you had fun, but you ruined like people's corporation. I know it's all.
That's incredible.
I mean, it's video game corporations, so whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, corporations are bad, and
They're people, Paul. They're people.
they have rights.
The Supreme Court said they were people. They're people.
That's fine. There are people I don't like. I will happily go on record saying that. But yeah, that's an incredible story. So yeah, no, rogue trader, just zip around to different planets.
It'd be neat if, because it's always like a traveling around the universe type element to an MMO.
Yeah.
If they just made that aspect, like transfer into a Battlefield Gothic style event.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like, bring people with you through space. People could encounter you in the middle of that, depending on what's going on there out in the open world.
Well, the way I picture your RPG is kind of like how WoW did their zones. So you have like the red zone where your enemy faction people can enter, but they can never hurt you.
No, I don't like that.
But then you have the yellow zones where it's open combat. So if you're level 1, you're not going to get murked by a level 100 guy. So you have Imperial planets, Chaos planet, Orc planet, whatever. And then there's planets under conflict. And the tide goes back and forth, and there's capital cities, and you can go to those planets, and that's where the main warfare takes place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's never a moment where a Chaos Space Marine is standing next to a Space Marine where they will not blow each other's faces off.
No, I know. Yeah.
So that's the only thing I don't like about that.
There are.
When they're fighting Necrons.
No, there's in the Beast Arises, the Iron Warriors help out because they're like
They weren't Chaos Iron Warriors, though.
Beast Arises.
They weren't Chaos. They were just Renegade Iron Warriors.
They were still they.
We've had this conversation on the podcast. The difference between Renegade and Chaos.
You tell a Space Marine to make that distinction.
Before the Codex Astartes? Yeah, for sure.
The Beast Arises is well after.
No, it's not. It's
It's like M34.
No, it's not. It's 2,000 years after the heresy.
No.
Yeah.
The Codex is a thing.
It might be a thing, but not everyone's bought into it yet.
Point is, the Iron Warriors are too many orcs, and everyone's too many orcs. Boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
And they fight the orcs.
Yeah.
The
No,
guy-
I hear what you're saying from a fluff perspective.
Yeah.
But it sucks being a level 1 player while a guy in demon armor jumps around and then squats on you after he kills you.
Yeah, so that just has to do with the so the way Warhammer Online dealt with it was they had tiered open RVR areas.
Yes.
So if you jumped back in time, you got incredibly debuffed if you went into the lower level RVR lakes, and if you I don't think you could get 4. You could probably walk all the way there, but you would get buffed to a higher level, but you didn't have the gear to support yourself. You didn't have, you know what I mean. So you would do horribly.
It's like the welcome bear in WoW.
What?
I never played WoW, so
It was just if you played I played Undead, and the Undead starting area is right next to a level 60 plus area. So when you're just prancing around, exploring, killing magic pumpkins, killing rats for quests, and you're like, oh, a new area, and you walk in, and there's just a bear that sits at the entrance and just runs over and just kills you in one swipe, and you're like, what the hell is going on?
Oh, well, I mean, that's Fallout New Vegas, where you're
the Deathclaw Sanctuary? Yeah.
No, it's
The Quarry.
No, there's this area filled with Cazadors, and you're
It's
I'm going to go to the straight line to New Vegas, and just Cazadors come out of nowhere, and it's what the frig?
Yeah, I remember that.
Caught that
nice
one.
save.
Yeah, right?
Nice save.
Oof. This Brodeur level save.
I've got a sniper rifle. I could totally take on that Deathclaw. Oh my god, now 6 Deathclaws are running towards me at full speed.
Oh, this is going to end poorly. I won't be remembered.
That's pretty good. That was fun.
Yeah, it was good. That was a fun time.
It was a fun time.
All right, well, we'll wrap it up for the podcast and go back and hang out with the Twitch folks
For 5 minutes.
Well, and let's give something away. We're just gonna do it.
Okay.
Somebody's getting something for free tonight.
A night with Paul and Nick. You pay for the beer.
All right, so we're going to shut this off. I hope everyone had a great time. I know I did. Next week, we'll talk about LVO and perhaps the controversy that has erupted thereabouts.
Sure.
Go home, guys. Get out of here, it's garbage.